All right, got it. We are live, setting it up. Facebook going live,
Perfect.
and I would just set this up because our beautiful, beautiful people come in the comments. All right, okay. Did you hear that? That was what I'm setting up. Muting the Facebook. Um, Good evening, everybody. 66 mom. We're getting there. Monday evening, I should have 70 done. Like that's a big number. 70 moms spoken to and interviewed, and we've exchanged so much story and so much emotion and so much energy. And now these mothers are all sitting and trying to create that beautiful book that we all are waiting. So we still have yet another beautiful mom. And I was just telling her that she's been on my mind since I've spoken to her. I've been talking about her. So we're going to have a beautiful, beautiful interaction. And it is an honor to introduce you to another very, very brave mom of ours. And she's just amazing. Welcome, Hillary. Welcome. And welcome to the book. And welcome to this interview. Let's go ahead. Please go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know more about Hillary's journey till here, and then we'll take the interview ahead.
Wow, thank you. I'm feel really, really honored to actually be here. And well, I suppose my story started, I was born in Zambia, but I grew up in South Africa. And so I've been very honored with amazing parents, and particularly a very, very strong mum. And one of the things that happened to me as a child was at the age of 7, I was diagnosed with a life-threatening blood disease where my bone marrow was killed off. So I stopped manufacturing blood. And so I was kept alive for a long period of time, just on massive doses of steroids and blood transfusions and those sorts of things. And, you know, I kind of got over that, but we keep these traumas with us. And it's only been as I've stepped into being a mum myself that I've realized just how deep some of that experience actually ran within me. So that's been one of my things. So for me, I very much believe that motherhood is a healing journey.
Wow.
And it is so strong, because that is what it's been for me. Because, you know, I had that experience and then I thought, right, you know what? I'm going to become a doctor. And I applied for medical school, and I got to that point and thought, actually, do you know what? I don't like sick people. Well, which is obviously not a good reason to go into doing medicine. And I kind of then went into the complete opposite. I did an economics degree and I moved to the UK, and my entire career was very much driving and achieving, and I was the good girl. You know, it was like tick box, tick box, tick box, all those sorts of things. And then I, you know, met a wonderful man, got married, had my first daughter, and even then I was reading books on like how to get your baby into the right routine, you know, all these things, like what you feed them when, and it was like a manual. And then I had my second daughter. And my second daughter was born with a very rare genetic condition which affects her heart, liver, eyes, kidneys, and immune system. And she's a complete force of nature. And it was with her that I really had to stop and step into, what do I think? And because we had sort of 8+ years of her going around, you know, 5 or 6 different hospitals trying to find a solution for this child who was really, really ill. And it was only when we got to the point of the consultants were saying that the option we had left was a liver transplant. And there was one day I had taken her to school, and I think, as you know, she was a child who never slept because the liver detoxifies at night. So at night she would become crazy, crazy itchy. And so the nighttime was spent with, you know, cold baths and warm baths and creams just to try and get her to settle. And so by the time we got to about 8 or so, we were both absolutely exhausted. And every doctor I took her to, you know, saying, well, there's something. And they kind of just palmed you off as being some sort of neurotic mum, but I knew there was something wrong with her. And that was when she was little that happened. And then eventually, I actually took her to South Africa to get diagnosed, and they discovered it there. But going back to the day after we had found out about the liver transplant thing, I was driving home, having taken her to school, and she was, every morning was like running the gauntlet, because it was walking on eggshells, because you can imagine her behavior was appalling. And I was still trying to get another child to school who was in mainstream school, and everything was fine. And this, my daughter Francesca, you know, she had hearing problems because she'd had so many ear infections and whatnot. And as I was driving home from a particularly bad morning, this light bulb went on, and I just thought, I know what I need to do. I need to homeschool her, because she needs to rest and she needs to heal. And so I pulled her out of school and started homeschooling her. And I'd always been one of those mums who, I think because of my medical experience in terms of having been ill, I wasn't medically intimidated. I also have a sister who's a doctor. So that was one thing. And I'd always been interested in the body. And so I'd been looking for solutions for her anyway. And I just thought, right, we homeschool, and we did nutrition, and we did functional medicine things, and we found the right doctors. And I mean, I didn't have the faintest idea what I was doing, because I'm not a teacher. And we just learned according to projects. Because I said to her, right, what would you like to do? What would you like to do? She said, oh, Mum, I'd like to learn about the Romans. And I knew nothing about the Romans. So we just got the books and started doing that. And, you know, if you fast forward, I homeschooled her for about 2.5 years. And then she chose that she wanted to go back to school. But she never needed that liver transplant. And she learned to read. And she's now a beautiful, she's far taller than I am, 15, nearly 16-year-old, and she loves her body. And that to me is something that is so important, because my experience was having been ill, I had a kind of a disconnect between my body and my head. Do you know, I was very much that driving forward. And I think a lot of women who've experienced some form of trauma, and for me, my illness was a trauma, have this disconnect between their body and their mind. So yeah, so that's where I believe that motherhood's a healing journey, because that's been my experience of it. And I also believe that when a woman kind of connects to that inner knowing and actually follows it and speaks up about it, it transforms her and her family. And, you know, and it has a sort of a whole ripple effect, really. So, yeah, so that's been part of my story.
Yeah, we have Lucy and we have Melanie. Melanie, thank you. I mean, you've been here for both the interviews. Lucy, we had an interview with Patty in the morning, and it was also another great interview. And what a beautiful story. And Lucy's saying, beautiful story, Hildry, of motherhood and healing.
Thank you.
And I was telling you that you've been on my mind because, you know, I have, as everybody says, I'm very vocal about the fact that my son wakes up every 45 minutes, even now at 2, and, you know, and that's because I still have to wean him off, and he's not been able to settle. And then when I spoke to you, and I was just like, Hillary didn't sleep for 8 years probably of her life, and she did it. And every time now I'm going back, Hillary, you're coming with me like into my sleep, and I'm like, she could do it, so can I. And that's what I'm trying to get this book, because one mother meeting another mother and listening to her story and can say, if she can do it, so can I. That's what this book is going to start creating. These 100 shades, somebody sometimes, some point in time can, relate to that story. And this whole thing that she, and I'm telling you, I do, like when I am exhausted, I lose patience, and you will see it in my morning interview. My morning interview, my eyes are puffy, and I'm sneezing because there's air conditioning on, and I've fed this boy. And then Melanie will tell you, like I'm not this active. And the morning interviews, I'm very puffy eyes because I've not slept, and then the day passes, and then I become mother. And I've been taking you back, like, and it's something, I don't know what you feel about it, because I want you to tell me what you feel, that somebody sitting in India, after listening to your story, takes your story back with her and feels better and says, if Hillary can do it, so can I. This boy is going to just wean off and start sleeping. So hang in there, right? How do you feel about that? And we've never spoken about that, but I'm very honestly telling you that I do. Since I've spoken to you, and I just spoke about you even today. I was on lunch with, after a long time, with my sister-in-law, and I treated myself to a lunch. And then I was sitting there, and I was like, you know what? I have to stop complaining about sleeping, because if Hillary could do it, this kind of juggling, I can. I definitely can. So you did give me that power. And I want to talk about it because I want people to know when these kinds of connections and these kinds of inspiration and these kinds of exchange will happen. What do I feel? I've expressed it, but what do you feel when your story inspires somebody else and gives that touch and that healing thing that, yeah, it's okay, you can do it, you know? I'm just a little ahead of you. What do you feel about that when I say that to you?
Oh wow, there's so much power. Because I mean, one of my experiences was when I joined the homeschooling network, and I came across a whole lot of mums who were incredible, but they just saw themselves as mums, right? And do you know, so often, I mean, especially because I grew up with the whole kind of, you're defined by what you do, and you know, that kind of label. And so for me, yeah, and these homeschooling mums, do you know that a lot of them were homeschooling their children because either the child was ill or the child didn't fit in some way. Do you know, they might have had ADHD or autism or all these sorts of things. But to me, I looked at them and I just thought, they're brave, they're courageous, they're resourceful, they're adaptable. And these are the skills that we need for the future.
Right.
Do you know, it's not fancy degrees or anything like that. It's resilience. And part of what I feel so passionate about is that by connecting with other mothers who've had life PhDs, you know, and that's where they've learnt their stuff, is you, yeah, I mean, I know you talk about that mother pulse, and that, yeah, we are, all of us, being called into a different sort of role. I mean, there's nothing that makes you grow up faster than having your own children. And especially if you have daughters, because all of a sudden, I mean, they're watching you all the time. And like, and you know, if you ask, I know my younger daughter, who was part of the homeschooling thing, she was part of a group called Rights for Girls, and it was all about, you know, that kind of, as they reach puberty, you know, the menstrual cycle and all those sorts of things. And this is where I became very aware of it, is like, what message am I actually portraying about being a woman? Do you know, because I mean, we stand on the shoulders of all the women who've gone before us, but yet all of us, we're at that point where we're better educated, we have more opportunities than our mothers, our grandmothers, and all these sorts of things. But what message are we still, you know, giving to our children? You know, is that, oh, motherhood's boring, oh, you have to give up your dreams, you're limited, all those sorts of things. Or do we sort of give our daughters, particularly, I mean, I know you have sons, but the message of, actually, do you know what, we're just the most divine cocktail of these 7 different hormones that we have in our body, and each day these hormones change, and yes, we are different every single day, and let's embrace that, and let's enjoy that, as opposed to, oh gosh, you know, because we've been brought up to live in this world of 24 hours. And that's based on the male hormone cycle, not the female hormone cycle. You know, we live within that 24-hour cycle, but we've also got our own cycle. So that's where I sort of started thinking, actually, what am I saying about my body and about the way I'm showing up and who I am? And I suppose, especially with teenage girls, the messages that we have, particularly around, you know, our visibility and our you know, how I know you've got your photography and that's also been part of it.
And actually it is, because whenever I hear this a lot, that I have girls that I need to speak about it, and I always, like we already in a conversation also said, I have boys, we are leaving them aside in these conversations, and that's why there's a lot of chaos happening, because they don't know. They can't blame them. A lot of times when you ask them, they say we don't know what's going on, because we've never decided to train them in what's happening to the brain, what's happening to the body, or also how, even to our daughters, that what happens with them, right? It's always this little blame thing, that you're a boy and you don't understand what it is. When we grow up, like, you can't understand my emotion, you can't understand this, and you need to be a little more feminine, and you need to be this. But the responsibility again comes back to the mother pulse, because she's the creator, and she's going to release these boys out to tell them that what it is, right? And you know what, like my and I'm like, my boy just enters when conversations are happening, right? Older one, and sometimes he just sits there and he's playing his game, but I know his ears are on, and I don't know what all he's soaking. So I'm sometimes very fearful that what is he going to soak about, like talking about women. And sometimes women are talking about their rapes, and sometimes women are talking about something, and I'm just like, oh my god, I don't know, it's the right age for him to listen to it. And somehow he's just like sitting there. But what's coming out of him being just around this project and everything is just beautiful, because he's already understanding, like me, like consciously telling him or whatever, what the mother pulse is. And I know that by listening, he's already soaking up a lot of things. And I would not be shocked that when he reaches that point, when he has to, like, he sees anybody, I'm not like only saying that he's the man and he should, when he sees anybody, maybe his mother, maybe his sister tomorrow, his cousin, his friend, his wife, his daughter, he can say that I think I understand what you're going through, because I've soaked that in as a boy, right? And that's why we as a responsibility, we have to. So when we talk about inclusion, even the boys need to be included in these conversations.
Totally. Absolutely. Yes. And women need to step into their kind of actually do the deep work. Get to know themselves, get to know their bodies, get to know their thoughts, get to know, I mean, one of the part of the journey that I've been on is actually kind of realizing and getting to know my judge. We all have a judge within us. Absolutely. And that judge serves us when we're younger. And then we have all these saboteurs that keep us tripped up. And I mean, I know from talking and, from the midlife mums that I've kind of worked with, and, so many of them are at the point where they feel like they've kind of overgiven, they've put themselves on the back burner for years. They get to the point of being, resentful, don't know who they are anymore. And then there's a part of them that they feel a bit ashamed because, here they are saying to their chicks, go, and then they, go fly, and yet for themselves, they're feeling as if they're lacking confidence, and they're hiding, and they're afraid to be visible. I mean, I know that was part of my thing, and just to try and to become, the world is, you need to be visible online these days. But for me, when I first started doing things like Facebook Live, or even one of the things that I do is I teach women how to do public speaking, and to take that online. I had such visibility blocks about myself, and I had to go back to, but where on earth does this actually come from? And I realized there was a particular incident in my life where I'd been this fat, ugly little girl who was really, really ill in a wheelchair. And we'd gone to a sort of an agricultural show as a family, and people were looking at me as if I was some sort of freak, And actually, I realized, and all I wanted to do was hide, have like an invisibility cloak over me, that people, because I felt so judged, and at that particular moment, and that image has lived within me, and I had to go back and sort of say, actually, do you know what, Hilary, you were brave and bold, and that whole thing of bringing the different parts of ourselves together, that wounded child and me as the mum, and I think a lot of women also experience that when they're wanting to, say, for example, step into a bigger role of if they've been a stay-at-home mum, for example, and they want to go back to work, and they sit down to fill in that CV. Because as you know, my background was in recruitment. I worked as a recruitment consultant in London for many years. And if I'm Hillary, the recruitment consultant, the mum, or the mum who's in my power sorting out the solution for my daughters, etc., etc. If I go and fill in a job application, I'm going to do that in a very different way to if I'm the mum who thinks, oh my gosh, do I have any saleable skills? Am I worth anything? Here I am, I've been at home, all I've been doing is looking after children for n number of years. Do you know there's a different energy about the way we show up? And it's not that one has to fake it. It's just that we have to connect with, there are different parts of ourselves.
Yeah, and there's nothing fake about it. And to integrate what you were saying, that I just think more and more and more that I'm exploring is the alignment issues with the fact that our mother pulse is there and she has the power to guide us in the right way. And that mother pulse also has the encyclopedia that gets downloaded onto our system to do what we need to do. And we need to keep bringing that confidence ahead. And that's what we're trying to do with this book. And that's what many of the coaches are trying to do here. And I'm just, Lucy saying, God is holding you every moment of the day, Shikha, and we are seeing you in all your magnificence, puffy eyes, and all I see is a light in your eyes. So no matter what time of the day you're at. Lucy, please you go and see Patty's interview, how emotional I got for you and Debbie. And Melanie, yes, we have to raise our voice to be aware. And that's what I was trying to say, that we all have to stop now and watch what we are doing. What are we doing? Why is this so weak at this point in time, and why is the blame game coming? And honestly, we have to take charge back, because we as creators, as the Mother Pulse, had the original charge. Okay, I don't know when it was taken away from us. I don't know what year and how many hundreds and thousands of years it was taken away from us and made us believe that we don't know, right?
Yeah.
We don't know. Because you see, when, and again, things get downloaded, I don't know what's happening to me, but anyway, what this got downloaded into my head was, when the man, even in the forest, left to get the food, they knew that she can take care of all the predators and everything around. They went out with the confidence that she could take care, and she was the in charge, and not the poor her who's going through I don't know what all, the sleepless nights, the poor her, what's happening, she will be lost, and maybe the child will get deviated. She just knew that the man has gone out, I'm the in charge, not only of this, but maybe my the whole social circle that the tribes had, and there were these mothers who were taking care of other mothers' children as well. Nobody can deny that there was interference in cross culture, and kids were just crawling here, feeding, across mothers as well. Like, we've read all that. Because they were the in charge of that thing. And the men knew they were in charge. So there was no way there was a doubt, should I not, poor her, not poor her. So I think that whole synthesis needs to come back, that I know what I'm meant to do and what my duty and responsibility towards me, towards the tribe, towards the kid is. And am I sending those strong men out, even if they're boys, through me, with the thing that when the next generation comes, they should also know, they know. My mother knows, my wife knows. They should not be sent out with a doubt saying, oh, I think my mother was a poor mother, and that's why my wife is a poor wife, and that's why they're not in control, and that's why so much is happening. Because
Yeah.
we are doing it. And again, it's coming to me, I don't know from where what I'm speaking, it just keeps coming to me more and more with each interview that let's let's not be any more poor us. We've done this. Like we mean I'm talking about the mother pulse. We women have gone off the mother pulse and we have made the world believe we don't know what's happening. And you're a perfect example because you just knew what to do with your daughter. Nobody had to tell you, Hillary, you have to sleep this time, you have to wake up this time, you have to start taking homeschooling. You took the charge and said, I am going to take the decision how to solve this chaos that's happening and how to give her the power to start moving in the world in a better way. Hillary knew it,
Mm.
right?
I think though, one of the things though about hindsight though is when you're in the situation, you don't know that. You are in a kind of survival mode. There's that kind of like warrior, I always think that, that yin and yang sign, you've got the warrior and the nurturer that go together. And I think for me, the warrior part was very strongly developed, to kind of, right, let's get this sorted. And the problem for me though is that it did take a toll on me in terms of my energy and my health. I haven't had health problems, but like my battery was flat and that. And I think that's the thing that women also we need to learn is that actually self-nurturing is not selfish. There is no great big badge of martyrdom that because I grew up very much with that sort of image of you kind of giving is and the kind of the martyrdom of motherhood image was the one thing. And I also think maybe because I live in a different country to where my sisters are and my mum, there were times in which I felt very isolated from not having all of my family around me. But also, and I know this from talking to some of the many mums, some of the people that we can feel most judged by are our family as well. And
Absolutely.
and sometimes I know this has been my experience of motherhood. I actually had to, just say stop, stop the bus, and then tear up the rule book. There are no more shoulds, coulds, musts. I'm playing this role because this is what I should do. I mean, when I say no more, you can never be completely no more, but kind of get rid of all of those, and then sort of start tapping into, okay, what is right? What do I feel is right? What is correct? And kind of then a few weeks ago, I kind of came across through a program I was doing this sort of whole thing of, be her now. And then for me, it's also show her how for my daughters. Be her now, show her how, as in for me to model for my daughters what it is and how to live in a sort of more sustainable way than how I had learned. And one of the things that I was thinking about when you were talking about, the tribe and sitting around and there's also those beautiful stories, that the structure that we had many years ago. And people would, my mother's Irish, so in rural Ireland, people would sit around the fire and tell stories, and that's how the wisdom was passed on, and that's in all cultures. And I particularly believe so much in that, and that in sharing our stories we change things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we feel that, Hillary, that like you just said that when you are in that situation we don't know, and when we look back we say we exactly knew what to do. And I see that back with, and we labeled as being stubborn, or we labeled as being crazy, or we labeled as doing an offbeat thing. But honestly, when that alignment happens, we all know and we fight for it. We do whatever, because when it comes to our child, we just know. And
I
that's the time that the mother will get up and do whatever needs to be done. And
totally.
he will, and again, we have so many shades of mothers. So many shades of mothers. Some mothers do give in, and there's no judgment against them, but they give in with believing what the others are telling them. But the suffering doesn't end. The suffering of that mother ends, that picks up the charge and says, I know, and I'm taking my child to this place if that's what it's needed. It's the mothers who start believing the illusion that has been shown to them again and again, that what you are thinking is not right, what you are thinking is not okay, are the mothers who are silently suffering because inside their heart they know they're not aligned with what was the right thing to do. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we also empower each other when we do things like this here and share our stories. Do you know, I mean, you know this, but I was saying, even with my own mother, do you know, I grew up as three girls, and I was the oldest of three. And it was a few years after I'd done the homeschooling thing that my mum invited my two other sisters and myself round for afternoon tea. I was out in South Africa, and we thought, oh my goodness, we got there and mum had the teacups out and she'd baked the fresh scones, and we thought, oh my gosh, we're in for trouble here. Mum's invited us round for a ticking off, And then she told us that she had something to tell us, and of course you immediately go to, oh my gosh, she's ill. And that, but then what she told us was that actually 4.5 years before I was born, she had found herself pregnant as a result of a trauma, and it was a date rape situation in rural Ireland, and of course, to be an unmarried mother in Ireland, I mean, we all know the stories about that. And so she actually landed up giving my oldest sister up for adoption, and she kind of left Ireland having given her up. And nobody knew about that. And then she went out to Africa, met my father, they got married. My father has always known about the existence of this older sister of mine. And anyway, fast forward, we landed up finding her, and she's now very much part of our life. And so now there are 4 of us. And that, but there was that whole thing of, like one person, no, that's not right, we need to change it. And it kind of empowers other people. And my mother's an incredibly strong woman. I mean, unbelievably strong woman. But there's a ripple effect of it all.
Absolutely. And I think what we all are sitting here doing with this project is that ripple effect. We are honestly sharing the stories. We are honestly having a conversation. And time has come to start having these conversations because and it's very crazy, Hillary, that I'm sitting here and we're creating a tribe, and like that, and we feel together with this tribe. Lucy is there, and Claire is there, and Melanie is there, but we're trying to recreate what we had in person through this book right now, so that we can speak. I can speak to Hillary about something. I can speak to Claire about something. I can talk to Lucy, and they can vice versa do something. Yeah. And we're creating. That was the original system that was needed for women to thrive and get through what they were going through physically, hormonally, and emotionally. And now somehow we've got an opportunity to even do it virtually, to still create that tribe. Do you think I'm not connected? Like, I don't say it enough, but Lucy and Debbie, the way they are supporting this, and when I look at them and I'm like, everything's okay, without knowing them for very long. And that's the inner thread and the string that's connecting. And I speak to Hillary, I'm talking to Melanie, and all of us are feeling something. The more we are talking and the more we're getting to know each other, the more we are feeling, even virtually. So that string is the real string. That urge to want to have a group of women hugging each other and supporting and exchanging stories is the real pulse, thing. Again, that's the real thing. And somehow universe has aligned us to fulfill that even through virtually. Right? Fine, COVID is there, but time has come to start holding hands and making that tribe. And yet this book becomes that opportunity that it started from self-portrait, it started from wanting to talk about self-image, and it's landed here holding hands together and listening to each other's story somebody like me taking your story to bed and soothing myself without knowing Hillary in person. But do you feel me? Yes. Do I feel you? Yes, I do. And the story and the vibration and the extension, like exchange is there. Yes. What's that? Like, that's what exciting me. What is that? Like, what is that? That's so real that I still get chills. I still get goosebumps when I'm listening to Hillary. And when I'm taking her story and I'm like, yeah, that's the real person staying in UK somewhere. Lucy is a real person. Melanie is a real person. And when I close my eyes and I'm like, the pulse. That's the pulse which nobody knows, but it's connected everybody. And we are coming back as a tribe. Right.
Exactly. And it's not defined as a tribe based on religion, color, creed, or anything like that. And that's, you know, in a world that is becoming more and more global, but yet so more and more divided in lots of ways, you know, when you kind of watch some of the stuff and that this actually, it's unifying. It's soul to soul.
And you know, and see again, being me a very practical photographer, that like this can't be seen, but this can be felt. It's real. I can feel it. You can feel it. And I was telling this to Patty in the morning. I have not met one mom, not one mom, after speaking to more than 150 moms across the world in the last 4 or 5 months, and interviewing 66 moms and aligning 70 are already aligned. Not one mom told me, I don't understand what you're saying. Not one mom I found who said that I don't feel what you're saying. I'm not trying to say that I'm great. I'm just trying to make a point here. I'm trying to say that not a single mom has told me that there's a reason why, because this is real. And enough proof has come that this is an invisible string which is real, and it runs through all us women and moms. And few of us are getting together to have a tight hug and say, this is my tribe. And like Claire said, we're not alone anymore. We will talk, we will discuss, we will create, we will sleep, we will raise children. But we will bring the whole point out as a real string attaching us. So that's what I feel.
It's the universal language of motherhood. Do you know, wherever you are in the world, it's the universal language of motherhood.
So exactly, then what is real? Like, we don't have to physically be able to touch it. The feeling part is becoming more and more real with this project. It's the feel which is real. It's I knowing Hillary, it's real, you know. And believe me, it seems that, you know, if I'm not sleeping in the night, it seems that Hillary is telling me, Shika, it's all right. You know, you'll be okay. So do I know very well?
You're not having to be more wrinkles, you see.
But like, do I feel comforted by Hillary with her story? Yes. Do I get up, like, rather than screaming at my child, that what is wrong with you? Why don't you sleep? Am I saying that, Shika, it's okay, this will pass, this is a phase, and if Hillary can do it, you can? Yes, I feel it. It's real. So the caress is real, and I'm going to just keep going deeper and deeper into it with every interview. And we are about to have a big breakthrough with the concept of this pulse and the string that I'm talking about. So watch people that unfold. All these 100 mothers are going to really talk about it, because a lot of healing will happen from here.
Absolutely. And I think there's one last thing I want. Do you know, I've, with my 2 daughters, they've run in very sort of parallel ways. The one is very much sort of academic grammar school, she's very artistic, etc. And the other daughter is equally as intelligent, but a different form of intelligence. And do you know, having come from an academic and sort of mathematical scientific family, and thinking that this is the way, do you know, like the correct school and the correct place and whatever, to experiencing this other thing, you know, experience I had with my other daughter. Actually, it doesn't matter. We get there in the end. And what is right for one person isn't right for the other. And it's about being open to to the different options, and not being, governed by by society to the extent. And I think particularly now at this particular point in history, you know, we know the structures are falling away, and it really is time for mums to be yeah, braver and more courageous and more status quo challenging and trust themselves more. Crikey, do you know, my biggest dream is to see a whole lot of gray-haired, look here, I'm going very gray here, gray-haired, status quo, challenging, irreverent, older mums saying, no, that's not right, or that's not how, and we don't have to be confrontational, we don't have to be rude, but it's just making a stand, really, and speaking up. And when I say brave, I don't mean it's just about speaking up. That's about it. And that's
and also, again, the way you said, not in a confrontational way. It's okay, like, to start expressing it,
yeah.
with whatever medium. And I just want to recognize Dr. Rosetta Williams. She's here. She's an educationist. Jenny is here. Hi, Jenny. Claire is there. But we don't have to start and say, we are powerful mother pulse. The mother pulse that is a nurturer, the mother pulse that knows, the mother pulse, everything. But we just have to start knowing that it's the truth. And we have to start making, it's literally the message going through this book is, don't worry. Stop worrying. We are all getting together to fix this, because it's been too long. It's just been too long. We're sitting quiet and saying, right, this is happening. It's okay. We're there. And that's what I'm saying. There are 100 shades. I have a comedian mom coming in tomorrow evening, I think, right? And she does stand-up comedy on being a mom, on her teenagers. And, I was telling her, do you think, like, if you have comedy, what if people get offended with something, because we have some serious people as well and everything. And then I found myself and I'm like, she's just another shade of mother, and let her be free, because that's her way of expression, right?
Yeah.
So I, in spite of heading a movement like this, taking a lead, again thought, yeah, I should not offend somebody. But I'm like, she is just expressing, and that's her way of expressing. That's okay. Let's get her on and embrace her and say, well, I express through photography, Hillary maybe expresses through coaching, and somebody expresses through writing, and somebody expresses through dance. You were expressing through comedy. Let's laugh. And then she said something serious. She just said, as mothers, I feel all of us are just very serious about being a mother. What if we just laugh about it and crack some jokes? So she's a stand-up comedian, and she's going to come in. So we're going to have a comedian mom. And then we have a mom who is just, she's a bodybuilder, right? And she's coming in tomorrow, and she's just won for Canada some state level awards for doing bodybuilding. And she donates for hungry kids. And then she's also supporting my niece told me what the short form is. LGQT. What is it?
LBGQT plus.
Yeah, LBGQT. So she, like, I always fumble when I say that, because I keep forgetting the full form. So she is coming in. So we have all varieties of mothers who are doing everything, coming together and saying, we've got you. And like, it's time has come that we sit for a cup of coffee, even if in our own this thing, and embrace that. That's what even I'm breaking. I'm learning. I'm like, yes, you can come in as a comedy and let's make fun of me. That's okay.
Exactly, because there's so many aspects of motherhood. I mean, as you were talking about a mum who's a comedian, I remember one particular morning about to go out on the school run, and in our old house we used to have a toilet under the stairs, right? And I thought, right, before I go to the loo, I'll quickly go for a wee, and next thing, I've got both my children and the dog, all in there, talking to me whilst I'm, trying to treat myself and whatnot. And like, there are these bizarre moments, and you think, me and my suited and booted corporate, suit in the old days would have been mortified by something like that. But motherhood is a wonderfully grounding thing. I have to get rid of all these kind of inhibitions and whatnot to a large extent.
So that's what it is. That's what it is. That a comedian mom making us show another way. And the book is called 100 Self-Portrait, 100 Dreams of Mothers Who Dared to Express. So it is all about the expression, whether visually, whether through stories, whether through our experiences, whether whatever. But this book is going to be expression of 100 shades of mothers. And people are asking me, are you going to take out volumes after volumes? And I'm telling them now. These are the 100 moms, and that's enough. They are enough if they are aligned and they all get to know each other and they all know what we are here for. They are enough to bring the wave of change back. So I will keep moving forward to find different parts of the mother pulse, because I'm very inquisitive of what I'm saying. And I'm going to go on that search once the book is out and take that book with me as a source that's guiding me there. But these 100 moms are going to be enough. They would have done and expressed and come in the book, and then they will move forward to tell the world that yes, we are all one and we all can express and do everything. So whoever makes it to these 100 are the mums from my side. They maybe all 100 start more 100 things and they start finding something, but these are the 100 moms that I feel very confident, and as a message from the universe that they are the ones. Just create the space, just start knowing each other, come into this book, tell the story, and that is what is needed for the mother pulse to start feeling, yeah, they're back, and we're doing it together again after hundreds and thousands and millions of years, maybe.
Yeah.
And then mother pulse will wake up. So we'll do it. It sounds Melanesia, no, yeah. So it sounds Melanie, yeah. Sorry, I love the word crazy. It sounds crazy, but Melanie doesn't allow me to say it. But it sounds crazy, but it's fun, and we're going to find it. So Hilary, what is your dream? If I may ask, what's Hilary's dream? Because this book is called 100 Self-Portrait, 100 Dreams. What's your dream?
My dream is to see women, particularly midlife women, really harnessing their life experience that they have and owning their value and kind of, stepping into the leadership of the wise women that they are. And actually, stepping into that feminine leadership that we have. All of us, we lead in different ways. Some people lead sort of like cheerleaders, and other people lead over a quiet cup of coffee. Yep. And there are lots of different forms of it. And I'd love to see, as you say, a tribe of mothers speaking up about the things that really matter to them. Now, I mean, for different people, it'll be different things. It might be animal welfare, it might be toxicity, it might be whatever the case may be. And to be the role models for themselves, but also for others. And I also want to see women stepping more into financial independence.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And to have those careers, this is with my recruitment thing hat on, whatever form that takes, whether it's a charity, whatever it is, and to live fully until they're 80, 90, and not the sort of, oh, I've got to old age, I'm going to sit here and, in a chair and be old, just basically to live the heck out of life until we get to the end of it.
Okay, now that you've said that, we have two old age is not a problem in this project as well. Lucy is 75 years old with such big dreams, even at 75, that you must meet her. You must meet her because she is a legend when it comes to her age. Debbie is breaking all barriers, being in a farm, raising grandchildren, totally cracking it. There's Elizabeth. We are getting Teresa's mom, who's 98 here, with some messages coming in. So definitely we've broken that. You're already there at that place where you will see all these mothers of all kinds flourishing and coming into this book with their stories. And it would be awesome if all of us meet one day in real time and give each other a big hug.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a big crowd of hugs, running together and saying, hey, so I vision that, and if it happens, it would be unbelievable to meet these 100 moms who will bring their stories together. And I also say that one day I want to go and visit each one of them and photograph them through my lens as well, and then bring another book out maybe in a few years and saying, and this is where we started, and this is how I see them and what's happening.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Hillary, for being here,
Thank
uh,
you.
for being who you are, and thank you for giving me a story to help me cope up with my sleepless nights, and and just very very beautiful. It's just very beautiful. And thank you, Claire, for introducing me to Hillary. And Jenny is here, and Melanie is here. Melanie, another homeschooling mom for you. Melanie is in the space of parenting, and we
Fantastic.
have something called visionary parenting started. So yeah, for Melanie also to align with many of these moms here is amazing.
Yeah.
And our children are in safe hands with these 100 moms. A lot of change is going to come through them. So that's amazing.
And thank you for bringing us together, all of us. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, I was thinking, oh my gosh, look at all these, these other mums. They're totally inspiring to me, and I feel so honored to just even be like in their orbit.
You're meant to be. 100 moms were meant to be here. And
Yeah.
I'm saying this again and again, not trying to sound like some sage or something, but I'm telling you, when I started, I said maybe I'll do volumes, but I will not. These 100 moms are the moms, and some are skipping lines and coming in front and coming into the interview. Some cannot make it, some can make it even within 10 hours of me meeting them. So it's all aligned and it's all meant to be, because all these shades will make that one beautiful book, and then one book with stories. And um, I'm very happy to meet all of you. Thank you so much. And
Amazing.
let's move away from the live, and I will see you. Just don't go. I will just go off live. Thank you so much, everybody, for supporting me, and I shall see you soon.